Mikol makom, in any case, according to halacha, it seems she'en tzarich, one does not need to lichotz regilav b'boker to wash his feet in the morning. Even though the Rambam is of the opinion, it's the Rambam's opinion. But according to halacha, Maran doesn't seem to bring it. V'tov, and it's good, not must, but it's good. Shirchatz panav b'boker, one should wash his face in the morning. Achar shitol yadav, after he washes his hands. Kodem shitpalel tfilat shacharit, before he prays shacharit. V'gam yishtof piv achar hanetilah, and he should also wash his mouth after washing his hands.
Just to wash and mouth to brush teeth. And to brush the teeth after that.
When we're talking, I think about the same thing. Oral hygiene, most likely.
That would be the same equivalent.
This weather, you gotta.
Interesting footnote here. Question of why does the Rambam hold you have to wash your feet? If you hold like the Rosh, that says that the reason we wash our hands is because we touch unclean places, your feet don't have anything to do with that. So it must be he doesn't hold like the Rosh. If you would touch the floor, you wouldn't have to do until that night.
If you touch the floor by hand, you have to do it by hand. No?
Why? If you touch something and your hands get dirty,
But you're in purity.
do you know that as a halakha?
No, you said one time that the floor is
To sit on the floor. But not to the point where if you touch it, you have to do until that today.
If you sit on the floor?
You can't sit on the floor.
What?
Because it's impure. According to the Mekubalim.
But not the ground.
People do it on Tisha B'Av.
No, the ground is worse than the floor. The floor is better.
People do it on Tisha B'Av.
On Tisha B'Av, you have to sit on something.
Well, sitting on the floor.
Small
People
chair.
do sit on the floor.
Hopefully the floor has a carpet.
Yeah.
So they have on who to rely on.
It's a regular carpet or additional?
That's a dispute among the Kabbalists.
So if you go hiking and you sit on a rock or a tree,
Rock is not the floor. You should not sit on the dirt or on the grass unless you have something underneath you. A blanket, a shirt, a napkin, something. But yeah, it's a Kabbalistic thing. It's not a...
on the beach, so the sandals.
The beach, same thing.
Interesting.
That's why everyone goes to the beach with a towel. They're afraid of Kabbalistic things.
So you can't walk on sand?
Oh, you cool.
Remember we spoke about this, we had the whole thing about walking barefoot, whether you should, whether you shouldn't. What's the reason? Is it Kabbalistic? Is it halachic? Is it... Okay, they're according to the Poskim, might not be the end of the world to walk on the sand. According to the Mekubalim, it's a big deal.
Okay.
One of those things.
So
never
you
go
can
swimming.
touch the ground without washing your hands.
If your hands are not... Meaning, would you eat with those hands without washing your hands?
No, I mean...
impurity-wise. Cleanliness, not...
Impurity-wise.
Yes. Yes.
Well, if you're on the beach and it's the sand and it's a clean place.
So some say, why wouldn't you follow... Well, the question is, where does the Rambam get this idea that in the morning you have to wash your hands and your face and your feet? So the obvious answer is from the Braita, right? That's where he got it from. It seems to me the Braita is not talking about every morning. The Braita seems to be talking either about Kohanim or about in general to get clean to serve Hashem. The Rambam seems to apply that to every time you pray, whereas the Poskim don't seem to agree with the Rambam. That's the proper application of this Braita. That's why you probably don't know people that before they come to B'Knesset, they wash their feet. It could also very well be with the way we dress. Could very well be affected by that. Today people wear socks, they wear shoes. It wasn't always like that. Okay, we're on page 58. We're moving rapidly along.
was a woman who came to the Beit Knesset some months back that the Deris brought in, who was handing out cards with Sher Yatzar Adam and saying that the special brachot, if you say this correctly and make sure you do it, Hashem will bless you. And there was a whole class about Asher Yatzar Adam, all the women went to. Do you remember that?
I wasn't here for that. Was anybody here on Friday night to my class? In my speech on Friday night?
Busted.
The speech I gave Friday night was worth, I would sell it for $100,000.
So we're going to go see.
We have a new style of Judaism, which is the peddling merchant Judaism.
Oh, yes.
Every mitzvah, it can't just be a mitzvah. It can't. If it was just from God, that's too little. It has to have special powers and healing capabilities and enlightening. Like, when I asked the ladies why they light Shabbat candles, everyone told me to light up the whole world and to bring peace to the world and all kinds of crazy things. We light candles so that you have light inside of your house. That's why we light candles. That's why our rabbi is supposed to light candles. Oh, but according to the Kabbalah, it said you didn't even finish reading Chumash. What are you reading Kabbalah for? You didn't finish. Oh, you're a fanatic. I'm a fanatic. You're the Kabbalist. I'm just following. I am just following halacha. But what am I saying? I'm not against the fact that maybe lighting candles has spiritual. I don't think so, but maybe. But what about Torah? What happened to the Torah? And people tell you put a mezuzah on your door. That's what I spoke about on Friday night. Remember? Put a mezuzah on your door because it protects your house. It's not true. It's not why you put a mezuzah on the door. For that, you should put on a security system. There are break-ins with mezuzot. The mezuzah is there to show the world that we believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like it says in the Torah. Hashem tells us to put on the door.
The Rambam said to say it was permissible to look at it as protection. I remember one of his writings.
No, other way around. The Rambam held that anybody who says that forfeits his portion in the world to come. That's what we learned together on Friday night.
So where did I find that? That wasn't in one of his epistles?
Maybe.
Could have been saying something different to these people?
I mean, to the point where people today, they wear mezuzot on their neck as necklaces, they put them in their cars, all kinds of things. But whose fault is that? It's our fault. Because today, you can't just put on tefillin. It has to be, your tefillin does supernatural things. Your tefillin is a mitzvah. I'm sorry it sounds so boring.
No, it's just to inspire secular people.
Absolutely, but are we losing something by inspiring people to that? Maybe we should instead focus our energies on showing people why it's so important to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and why it's so important that we have a Torah that comes from Hashem. And then they'll be inspired for everything. Then I won't have to start peddling my Judaism as a segula, or as a red string, or as a holy water. I don't know, whatever's going to come next. I struggle very much with this. Because then what happens to people who then do it, and then, I don't know, it doesn't work out for them. Because it won't, because Hashem didn't promise it's going to be that way. Somebody who came to Rav Tzvi Yehuda Kook said, Rabbi, if this war for the state of Israel was so holy and so important, why do we lose soldiers? Tzvi Yehuda would scream. He said, who promised you? Where is your contract with Hashem that says we're not going to lose soldiers in war? Where did he promise us that? Where? Hashem never told us. Hashem, you go to war, people die. That's how it happens.
Rabbi, in some of the wars, like in King David or with Yahushua, not a single person was.
Hashem promised us certain times. Hashem didn't promise us this war. We're not going to lose people.
That was also the year of Nevuah. We're not that.
They were a different planet. But people today, they've made Judaism, it's like become a cheap thing. If the reason I wear tzitzit is for my Jewish identity, so I'll wear a chai necklace. Maybe I'll wear it outside of my shirt. Yeah. Show everybody that I'm Jewish. Maybe I'll put a tattoo on my forehead. Maybe. But that's not the way. It's not why we wear tzitzit. It's not why. Just a little bit teach people. What? Yes.
I've seen a lot of Tehillim tattoos.
I knew somebody with a Yud K Vav K tattoo.
Oh, God. Oh,
That's like,
yeah.
you're going to go to Gehenna, and those 4 letters are going to go to Gehenna. I know what's going to happen. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that works.
That's why he did it.
Maybe.
So he can't go to
Maybe.
Peace will ascend.
That's a problem. Somebody once wrote Yud K Vav K on their hand in pen. What do you do then? You can't go to you can't walk into the bathroom?
Arms taken out.
It's a problem.
What about Hamsa? Is it Jewish custom? Because all Muslims do that.
You're pushing me on the Khamsa now?
You better hide them.
No, I want to know.
I have a chamsa in my house.
Because I grew up in Muslim country, so when I come to Jewish house and see Hamsa,
I have a chamsa in my house, only because somebody bought it for me. And when I didn't put it up, they asked me, "Where's my picture?" Chamsa is obviously not a Jewish tradition. Obviously, its origins go as far back as Cleopatra.
And Babylonian.
Some of the Sepharadic poskim, the Spanish Sepharadic poskim, they call that eye. How do you say an eye in Spanish? Ojo, ojo. What do you say? How do you say? An eye. Ojo. Yeah.
Ojo de Dios.
That eye. That ojo is paganism. It's not Jewish. So they were only allowing chamsas that didn't have the eye in them. There is an idea, according to the Zohar, something about a hand with a letter Hey inside of it. Like 5 fingers, 5 different characters. Fine. So that's why they have the chamsa with the Hey inside of it. But you can't take something that's clearly not Jewish, smack a Hey on it, and then make it a Jewish thing. But then again, it's one of those things that so many people are doing today. What do you say about it? I don't know. I'm not a fan of chamsas. There are much more important things to put on your walls. Picture of the Kollel. Yeah. But I'm going to rip off. Let's put it this way. I don't think that chamsa is innately avodah zarah. It's not idolatry. People don't pray to the chamsa. They don't worship the chamsa. Is it a Jewish custom? No. No. It's interesting how for Sephardim the chamsa has become this reminds me of home. Yeah, but it doesn't. In the home, I'm pretty sure the Jews didn't put up chamsas. Yeah, but we're getting a phone call. Must be important. Understand? Sorry. I'm teaching. Yeah. Nope. Okay. Fine. All right. So, talking about Sephardim, Birkat Asher Yetzar, the blessing of Asher Yetzar, Shacharit, in Shacharit, during the morning service, or in the morning. Let's pause. Go to page 53. Yeah. Says Maran, you wash your hands, Zilat Yadayim. The Rama adds, and also Asher Yetzar. And even if you don't go to the bathroom, you still make an Asher Yetzar, and that's the custom.
I mean, when you wake up in the morning?
When you wake up in the morning, Zilat Yadayim, and you make an Asher Yetzar, whether or not you went to the bathroom. Okay? That's the Let's go back to page 58. Yud Aleph. Leminhag HaSfaradim, according to the custom of the Sfaradim. Ve'edot HaMizrach. Do you know what the difference between Sfaradim and Edot HaMizrach are? Do you know what Edot HaMizrach mean?
Yeah.
You heard of this?
Iraqis?
Yeah, like they're from the Arab countries, but they didn't come from the Spanish.
Right. The Edot HaMizrach are like the people of the Mizrach, of the East. The Middle Eastern Jews who weren't connected to Spain. They didn't come from Spain. So you have two kinds of Sfaradim. Sfaradim means someone who comes from Spain. Ashkenazim means someone who comes from Germany. Just like not all Ashkenazim come from Germany, so too not all Sfaradim come from Spain. The Jewish communities that came from Spain would be the Jewish community of Spain, of Portugal, of Morocco, of Algeria, Tunisia, of Turkey, perhaps some of the Balkan region. Where did you say? France. Yeah, Nahon. Greek. Greek is already split into two. The Rome also, Italy. Okay, so let's say that region. Then you have the Jews that came from Iraq, Iran, Syria, Egypt. Okay, that's also, what is that community exactly? You can say they are fit into the category of Edot HaMizrach.
Afghanistan.
Right? All the Middle Eastern countries, they didn't come necessarily from Sfarad. So the Sephardim, the Spanish Jews, always felt themselves like a little bit, they're better than everybody else because they came from Spain. And so today they created this word of Sephardim and Edot HaMizrach together. But Sephardim, original Sephardim, sometimes will get angry if you call them Edot HaMizrach. Now Edot HaMizrach will probably get angry if you call them Sephardim, but it's okay, we call them both. So, the Sephardim and Edot HaMizrach, Im lo asat tzarchav baboker, if a person did not go to the bathroom in the morning, Eino mevarech asher yitzar. He does not make an asher yitzar. Klal. At all. Meaning, asher yitzar is directly connected to going to the bathroom. So I will not make it if I don't go to the bathroom.
That's a minority situation, of course.
Right. Hopefully. Although, since I've been teaching these halachot, I've been hearing from a lot of people that they don't necessarily go to the bathroom in the morning.
Even to pee?
Yeah, which is interesting. I don't know.
That's very rare from my experience with people.
It's also not healthy.
Sometimes I wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's
back to
different,
sleep.
yeah, that's different.
And then when I wake up at 7,
Okay.
That's a little different.
V'yesh mashkenazim. There are also Ashkenazim. Not everyone, not all Ashkenazim agree with the Rama. Shenahagu, that have the custom, shebaboker, in the morning, bekumo mishnato, when a person wakes up from their sleep, mevarech asher yatzar im nitilat yadayim. They say asher yatzar together with nitilat yadayim. Ben asat tzorchav, uven lo asat tzorchav. Whether he went to the bathroom, or whether he didn't go to the bathroom. Aval, but achar hashkamat haboker, after waking up in the morning, kagon shenotel yadav kodem batfilah, like when he washes his hands before prayer, eino mevarech asher yatzar, ela im ken asat tzarchav, a person does not make asher yatzar unless he went to the bathroom, meaning the only time where a person would make an asher yatzar is in the morning, according to the Ashkenazim, when they wash their hands. If they're going to wash their hands again for mincha or arvit, for whatever reason, they would not make another asher yatzar just because that's what they do in the morning. It's a custom that's directly connected to the morning. According to Sephardim, this bracha is a blessing in vain.
So then, what is the reason for saying that if you're not using the bathroom?
out of the morning blood.
Maybe they don't say it during the night if they go, and so it like covers the night.
What is your question?
Oh, what's the reason for saying that it's pleasant to go to the bathroom if you're not going to the bathroom?
But during the day, you do say, actually, that's how when you go to the bathroom, right?
Because, well, we were discussing yesterday how every bracha is tied in with a specific action.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's puzzling to say a bracha which is associated with a specific action if you don't perform the action.
You want
Actually, we have to say it before going to the
But still, it's still connected to an action.
Every bracha is supposed to
You're
be
never
before the
sure.
action.
How can you say?
Answer your question. It's a good question. Answer your question. We said yesterday there are two kinds of brachot. What did we say?
Oh, actually, it's Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's not a mitzvah bracha, and therefore,
It's not
very nice.
Shulchan
Oh,
Aruch.
see, you answered this question. Baruch Hashem. It was a good question. It's a key question to think about. Whenever you have to know about the brachot, what kind of bracha is it? Page 58. Let's look at page 58. It's a good question you asked, so we're going to look inside, in depth. But I want to tell you a story first. There's about a guy who's walking through the forest, and he sees that there's some expert archer. You know an archer? The guy who shoots arrows? He must have been an expert. He was here before him. In every tree, there's a target, and right in the middle of the target, there's an arrow. He's blown away. He's never seen someone with such accuracy. He finally catches up to this archer. He says, "You must be incredible. Like, you must be world class. I want to know you. Who are you? What are you?" So, "What do you mean? I'm just a normal guy. This is my hobby I do in the afternoons." He said, "How do you get everyone into the bullseye?" I said, "It's very simple. He said, first I shoot the arrow. Then I paint the bullseye around it. Yeah? Sometimes you'll find certain things people do, after the fact that they do them, they give you all these reasons why they did it, why they said it, but that's not the real reason why they did it. The real reason why they did it is just because. But then they found a great way to rationalize it. I'm not specifically saying about this halakha. This halakha, there are a number of opinions about it. But when you read halachot, sometimes you'll find what I call the bullseye halachot. They first shot the arrow, and then they drew the bullseye around it. It's like someone once tried to convince me why Ashkenazim eat gefilte fish on Shabbat. It's because to avoid the problem of bones, of taking bones out of the fish.
Right.
Now, whereas that's a nice reason, then for that reason, Ashkenazim should have eaten gefilte chicken also. But the very simple reason why gefilte fish existed was just like the reason why in very many Sephardic countries people ate fish patties or fish. When you don't have a lot of money to buy a whole fish, so you take scraps of fish and you put them with flour, you grind it. That's what everybody ate. That's not a Ashkenazi thing. But by Ashkenazim, it became part of the tradition. By Sephardim, as soon as they could buy fish, they stopped eating these fish patties. When?
Today they call this filter fish,
Yeah.
Gefilte fish.
not the good one.
So what am I saying? Someone came up. That's the custom. Then they decided to draw a bullseye around it. It's an interesting idea. But it's like today when you go to the store, the most expensive meat you could buy for Chag would be brisket. But the reason why all the Jews eat brisket is because brisket didn't used to be the most expensive meat. It used to be the cheapest meat, and that's why Jews bought it. And for Chag, that's why it was the traditional dish. But now they know Jews always buy brisket, so now that's the most expensive meat. And other meats come in second place to those. It's an interesting way that the world works. Sometimes things go upside down.
It's custom.
So let's look at...
So there isn't a problem then with eating fish and removing a bone? Or you just do
There's
it
a way.
yourself?
There's a way to
of
do it.
doing
There's a way to do it. And what I'm saying is, someone wanted to avoid that problem, they would have to have all kinds of strange foods they would eat on Shabbat. That wasn't the reason why people ate gefilte fish. It could be now an added benefit to keep eating it, but not definitely not the reason why people eat it.
Mother's gefilte fish. Mother can see what they're calling gefilte fish. She's to be rolling in her grave.
Gimel. Let's look at the bottom. This is a great question, so I want to deal with it. Hine, you'll find Rabbi David Abudraham writes, Katav, Shebaboker, that in the morning, Mevarech Asher Yetzar, you say in Asher Yetzar, Ben Asatzachav, Ben Lo Asatzachav, whether he did what he needed to do or not, whether he went to the bathroom or not. But before the Shulchan Aruch. Vehevio Maran HaBet Yosef. And Maran quotes him in the Bet Yosef. Maran, Rabbi Yosef Karo quotes his opinion. Vekatav hazeh, and he wrote about it. Ve'ini yodeh, I don't know. Ma tam, what is the reason of the Birkat Asher Yatzar, to make an Asher Yatzar, k'shelo asat zachav, when you don't go to the bathroom. The whole blessing of Asher Yatzar is, what's the blessing?
You gave us openings.
You give us openings and orifices, and they can open, they can close, and if the stuff wouldn't come out, so why would you make this blessing if you didn't go to the bathroom? It's directly connected to says the Maran. I'm happy that Abu Draham says it, but logically it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. V'lashon HaRambam, according to the Rambam, she'im lo nichnas lebet hakiseh, let's turn to page 59, top left.
Here, if you don't, if that blessing, you won't go to birth bathroom. You're not passing to birth bathroom. You hard time in bathroom that time. You get a blessing. The easy way is go to bathroom, make a blessing.
Yeah. So what happens if you don't go to the bathroom in the morning? Would you still make the blessing?
No.
Well, the Ramah says yes, you would. That's what Maran is saying. I don't understand. Why would you make the blessing? So from the language of the Rambam, she'im lo nichnas lebet hakiseh, if we don't go to the bathroom, ein ovach asher yatzar, you don't make an asher yatzar. Very simple. Rambam says the same thing. Mashma, it seems to be kedivrei Maran and Bet Yosef, like Maran, they agree. V'chein ketvu rabim miraboteinu harishonim v'acharonim, and the vast majority of our Rishonim and Achronim say this, she'ein mevarech asher yatzar afilu b'shachit elim ken asat zachav. You don't make an asher yatzar unless you went to the bathroom. The list of those Rishonim and Acharonim, if you look to the right column, see where it says Chav Bet in bold? This is a list of all of the rabbis that say you should not make an asher yatzar. You can turn the page, it continues. Until Chav Gimel.
I could stack the court here.
Like, if you want to play the name game,
Yeah.
got a lot of names.
Oh man, oh man.
What
Look
did
at him.
Maran say?
Maran doesn't say you should make an asher. He doesn't agree. Aval, but there always has to be a but, right? Can't be simple. Harama, Rabbi Moshe Isilish, B'darchei Moshe, in his book Darchei Moshe, which is his equivalent of the Beit Yosef, the precursor of the Shulchan Aruch. Katav, he writes the Yashev HaMinhag to explain the custom. Shemachar, that after Shasur Liga Biyadav, that since you can't touch with your hands, Be'od Sha'ruach Rash O'alen, you can't touch with your hands when they still have this evil spirit, this impurity on them. Bifanav, your face, uvachotem, your nose, uvoznaim, your ears, ubayinayim, or your eyes. Sheheman kavim aktanim sheba'adam, any of the orifices, the holes, you cannot touch them when your hands are impure. It's halakha. V'al yedei nitila zom, because you're washing your hands now, tasur haruach ra, the evil spirit leaves your hands. Umutar lesotmam ulefotcham biyadav, and you're now able to cover or touch or open or close your openings in your body with your fingers now. Lachen mevarech asher yatzar. That's why you make an asher yatzar.
I have a problem with this.
Let's first understand what he says. The Rama says, since before you do Netilat Yadayim, you're not allowed to touch any of the openings in your body, so you don't bring an impure spirit to them. So now that you wash your hands,
Why would you touch all?
let's say you wanted to touch your nose, or I don't know, rub your eyes, or whatever it would be.
But that's not what the bracha is talking about.
But the Rama is trying to
No, it's
give
not-
a reason for the
it's
custom.
not orifices that discharge waste. Your eyes, you could say you have sleep in your eye, little sticky stuff, but generally speaking, we don't consider these orifices as discharging waste products. And that's what the bracha is talking about.
Okay, you're right. The Rama is saying I'm stretching it a little bit, but I want to justify the custom.
That's kind of a backwards.
And this
way of
reminds me
thinking.
of a special piece in the Aruch Shulchan.
That's painting
Aruch
the
Shulchan
target.
by Rabbi Michal Epstein. Good Sephardic name, no? He was actually Sephardic, believe it or not. From a Moroccan family, from the Ben Benishti family. And his family moved after the Spanish Inquisition to Ashkenaz for hundreds of years. And it's not yesterday they moved from Morocco. And they changed their name so they wouldn't be known as Sephardim. It was dangerous to be a Spanish refugee from Spain. And so they were very grateful for for Europe for absorbing them into their communities. And he actually became one of the leading poskim of Ashkenaz. He's actually, though, a Sephardic rabbi. He writes this in his introduction to his book. In his volume on the laws of Sukkot, Rabbi Michal Epstein has a... Are they sitting in my office?
No, I think that wasn't that Mati just
Interesting.
downstairs?
I want to tell me what they're doing in there?
Killing ants.
Hopefully. Hope it's not raiding my pushkas.
No. You're putting something in the book.
Yeah? Hope so. You keeping an eye on them? Okay, good. Rabbi Michal Epstein says, I have to justify a custom that exists in Europe. Not by the Lithuanians. This custom doesn't exist. Baruch Hashem. Why? Because the Lithuanians know halachot. But by the Hasidim. The 8th day of Sukkot. Is it Sukkot? Or is it not Sukkot?
No. It's not so good.
Really, it's not Sukkot. מה הולך במשרד?
שיחקנו קצת, זה שלך.
תודה רבה.
רייט של האימא שלך. אז תוריד את זה ממך.
לא, אוקיי, בסדר גמור. תזכר למצוות. Just wait, it doesn't disappear, you know? I still don't know, I'm worried. See, I told you something about the pushkas. Don't listen to me. Yeah.
I told you like putting something.
What?
They're putting something in it.
Oh, okay. If they keep putting, I'm okay. I'm happy with it. So, Rabbi Michal Epstein, I have a problem. Really, the 8th day of Sukkot is not Sukkot. But it's still the 2nd day of the 7th day. You understand? In Chutzlah, it's outside of Israel. So the Hasidim have an interesting custom. I don't know all Hasidim, but especially non-Chabad Hasidim. They have this custom, which is, they only make Kiddush in the Sukkah on the 8th day. Let's start. The 8th night of the holiday, they don't eat in the Sukkah.
Right.
Shabbat, the 8th day though, they make kiddush in the sukkah, but they don't eat in the sukkah. They eat in their house.
So they specifically made this
You think it's tight?
complicated,
Lunchtime. But the night before, they eat in their house. The daytime, they do kiddush in the sukkah, and then eat inside of their house. Say, the poskim, if you're going to make kiddush in the sukkah, you also should eat in the sukkah, and you definitely have to eat in the sukkah the night before.
If it's heavy rain,
And if it's not,
And you don't make it.
then you definitely, so you should eat inside like you did night time. And you have to make kiddush inside also, because any kiddush had been come suda. You have to make the kiddush where you eat your food.
but there is Kabbalistic explanation.
Are you being serious with me?
I'm pretty sure that there is.
I'm telling you.
If you ask Chabad Rabbi, he will.
No, but Chabad doesn't do this. Chabad doesn't do
So you
this.
shouldn't be shikar in the sukkah.
But I'm sure the Hasidim always tell you Kabbalah, something Kabbalah.
I'll pick up.
The Sephardim wrote the Kabbalah, but Hasidim know better than them. That's the thing. Yeah. So tell me, the Ashkenazim are right. You shouldn't do this. The Lithuanians, they never heard of such a thing. They either eat in the sukkah the 8th day, or they don't eat in the sukkah at all. You can't have like a half and half. What is this holiday? So good. I said they know halachot. Let's put them aside. What about the Hasidim? Says the Rabbi Michael Epstein, instead of saying it's a wrong custom because it's dangerous to say it's a wrong custom, he spends a number of pages proving why this custom has validity and da 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 da. Sometimes I wonder, why do you have to do that? Yeah, why justify it? Don't have to justify it. You are of a different opinion. Okay, so some people say that I just don't care about Jews. That's why I'm so happy to nullify their customs. Okay, so you have these two different camps. We're right now in the camp of people who try to justify customs. The Rama says, who cares if it makes sense or not? It's an existing custom. Let's justify it. And here, he found the justification. Is it a spot-on proof? No, if it was, then Maran would also say in a Shariatzah. But it's not a proof, it's a justification.
You're drawing the target around the arrow.
Okay, that's why we told that story. Yeah, let's keep reading. There's not only one Rama.
And that creates a lot of convoluted thinking, and that starts to spread throughout everything.
V'habach.
Right? And you end up with a convoluted...
Then things get confusing.
Yeah.
V'habach.
It's not based
The
on
Bach is
what
the
you
Beit
want.
Chadash. Rabbi Yoel Sirkis. They spell it differently. Sirkis. This was the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Shlomo Karbach. Katav Leve'er, he writes to explain, Shekashem shemevarchim kol birkot hashachar baboker. Just like we say all the blessings in the morning, the birkot hashachar, af kishlon chayev ben, even if it doesn't apply to a person. There are some birkot hashachar that we don't. Let's say a person doesn't have shoes. Does he still make the bracha of having shoes in the morning? Let's say a person can't walk. Does he still make that bracha? Let's say a person can't see. The answer is yes. A person makes all these brachot because he's not making a blessing for himself. Rather, he's making the blessing the way the world works. The way the world works is people stand up, people see, people open their eyes. And so therefore he's making those brachot because they apply to the world, not necessarily to himself. Because they were established over the minhag ha'olam, the way the world works. So too asher yatzar, even if you don't go to the bathroom, but it's the way of people to go to the bathroom, and therefore you say in asher yatzar. That's what the Bach says.
So that takes the whole action-oriented connection with a bracha into a more mass consciousness aspect of it. It's changing the center of what you supposed to be doing something for. It's completely shifting in a different dimension.
And this is a book that I just bought in Israel. It's a set by Rabbi Chaim David Halevy. I didn't buy it because he has the same last name as I do. He was one of the big rabbis, chief rabbi of Tel Aviv in the early years of the state of Israel. A rabbi who somehow Jewish history skipped him over. Because he didn't fit quite right into the way the world wanted him to be. Very special personality. I don't agree with everything, but a very special personality.
Yeah,
Big Talmid Chacham.
people don't agree with him, they're skeptic.
Yeah, but that's not the way Jewish history should work. I don't agree with this. He had interesting opinions regarding the state of Israel, regarding politics and halakha, and all kinds of things like that. But I heard a speech from him yesterday, in which he was begging people. He said, base your values on halakha. He said, halakha is straightforward. Halakha has black and white. Halakha has right and wrong. you use it, you'll come to all kinds of straight paths and justice and so good. I heard Rav Soloveitchik once say a similar thing. I read in one of his books. Rav Soloveitchik said, you shouldn't base your Jewish philosophy on agadata, on the stories of the rabbis. Because one story goes this way, one story goes that way. So you're going to come up with a very confusing Judaism if you base your philosophy on that. Said Rav Soloveitchik, as ironic as it sounds, base your philosophy off of halakha. Now, halakha doesn't seem to be so philosophical. It seems to be pretty dry. But all this running commentary we get from Zev right now in this chapter is important. What did you just say? You said something. It removes
the center of doing the halacha from the action of an individual to a group fulfillment of it.
Do you understand? That's one.
Local
and what,
to global.
Very nice. So you said the other thing you said before was about if you let people start thinking this way, it's going to have ramifications all across Judaism. When you learn these halachot, don't just stop by halakha. Apply these principles elsewhere. What he's saying is really changing things from a personal, subjective way to a very global, community, objective fashion. And the question is, were brachot established like that, or were brachot established in a different way? And these are things that you should sit and think about. I don't know if you'll get a right or wrong answer, but halakha is going to be the springboard for a lot of these discussions. So write them down and have them. V'od, and furthermore, says the Bach, she'if shar shebalayla, it's impossible that at night, lo nitatesh milamata, this is a nice language for, it's impossible that a person at night does not sneeze down below. Sha'af ha'itush hu refua, that even sneezing down below is some kind of healing. V'af al pi shebayom eino mevarech al ha'itush, and even though during the day, if a person would have such an action, he would not make a blessing of Asher Yatzal. Mikol makom baboker she'if shar lo below zeh mevarech. But in the morning, because he has no choice, he'll make a bracha on that sneezing of the night.
But if you don't make a bracha during the day on it, why changes its status?
He's trying again to justify.
Yeah.
Not prove.
It's
Justify.
playing games with it.
Okay, let's see who else is here. The Levush is a student of the Ramah. The Levush writes, Katav, his name was, if I'm not mistaken, you can Google it. I think his name was Rabbi Mordechai Yafeh, or Yafa, rather. The Levush writes, She'i efshar shebalayla, it's impossible that at night, lo hitil mayim, that a person did not urinate in the middle of the night. Or maybe even a drop came out in the middle of the night into his clothing.
Really?
Okay, that's what the Levush says. For that reason, that person makes an Asher Yatzal in the morning. The problem with this opinion, and that's in the brackets here, is that according to most poskim, there's a time limit on Asher Yatzal. But it seems to be the Levush holds there is no time limit. The most lenient one would be until the next time you feel you have to go to the bathroom. We're in the chapter of Asher Yatzal now. Okay, let's see another opinion. You see the last narrow line? V'hamagen Avraham. V'hamagen Avraham, he writes, Katav levaer hatam. He gives a different justification. Al pi ma shekatav b'shut harashba. What the Rashba writes in the first volume of his letters. Betam nitilat yadayim shachrit. What did the Rashba say the reason for washing our hands in the morning is? Do you remember? Page 53? No, that's the Rosh.
5 reasons.
Yeah, 5 reasons. One of them is from the Rashba.
An evil spirit comes.
No, that's the Zohar.
So live, get a new one.
Oh. Here, you become a new creation. And you have to make a blessing of thanks to Hashem. So we said that's Al Nitilat Yadayim. Says the Magen Avraham, according to the Rashba, even Asher Yatzar is a blessing of thanks. So if he didn't have a hard enough time with why Al Nitilat Yadayim is a blessing of thanks, so now he's going to make it even worse. Asher Yatzar also now becomes a blessing of thanks for being created like a new spirit. And the Gra agrees with him. The Gra says, let's say, V'chen katav b'yura Gra, it's the last reason for tonight. Shem varech Asher Yatzar, one makes an Asher Yatzar, mishum shenasa kebriya chadasha, because it becomes a new creation. Uvrekat Elohai neshama, that blessing Elohai neshama, shnatad b'Torah, that blessing, Hi al hanshama, that is for the neshama. Uvrikat asher yetzar, hi al haguf. Asher yetzar is for your body. That's what the Vilna Gaon says. And here I say, why be get so complicated? According to Maran, this whole bracha would be a bracha levatala. So there's custom, so there are a number of justifications for it. But they're justifications. I don't know if any of these are compelling enough to say, even if you don't go to the bathroom, you would still make a bracha.
Does Rambam say anything about that?
Yeah, the Rambam says you don't make an asher yetzar. So what would you say?
You said you follow the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
So if you don't follow this, then you're not following part of the Shulchan Aruch.
So obviously, I wouldn't make this asher yetzar. But in the situation where one would not go to the bathroom and still not need to go to the bathroom, according to the Rama, one would make an asher yetzar, but not everyone agrees with him. Not just from the Sephardim. The Ashkenazim would disagree with him. So even though that's the custom amongst the Ashkenazim to make this bracha, it's not convincing. But it's a custom. There are reasons for it. I mean, this custom has more validity than other ones would. Many rabbis stood up to try to defend this custom. Okay. I hear. Maybe you let me, I know the time. Let's do the last paragraph of this. 60, page 60. The last few lines. Ve'af leminhag Ashkenazim, and even according to the Ashkenazim, is on the top again. Nachon sheyaseh tzilchav baboker, he should go to the bathroom in the morning. Kedei sheyuchal levarach asher yetzar, so that he'll be able to make an asher yetzar lechol hadot, according to all the opinions. V'letzet yidei safek, and to remove himself from doubt. V'chelim minhag Sfaradim and the Mizrach, how much more so for the Sfaradim, she'inam mevarchim asher yetzar elim kenas atzachav, they hold you don't make an asher yetzar unless you go to the bathroom. Tov letzet yidei safek, a person should remove himself from all doubt, v'yaseh tzachah baboker, and he should go to the bathroom in the morning, kedei shevarich asher yetzar lechol hadot, so that he can fulfill those Ashkenazi opinions who say you have to make an asher yetzar.
But if you don't have to go to the bathroom, then
So you can just make yourself go to the bathroom.
talk to urologists and see how successful they are.
I don't know, when you go like to a doctor's office and they want you to pee into a cup even though you don't feel like it, usually,
You can't do it,
well, that's, most of the time you can.
most of the time.
I mean, unless you're really scared.
Yeah.
Drink water, yeah.
Cup of water.
A whole bunch of water, whole bottle. You can't drink water at 5 o'clock in the morning, get up at 6 o'clock.
So there you have it. Even according to Ashkenazim, they should remove themselves from doubt. And for the Sfaradim, they should remove themselves from doubt also. You like these compromises in Halakha?
Just at 3 in the morning, there you go.
God willing, on Monday we'll continue with which water you're allowed to use to wash your hands. And what kind of cups you're allowed to use to wash your hands with. I've seen people use cups that are not allowed to be used for washing their hands. Is there a minimum size? Does it have to be a certain shape? Does it have to have handles? Can it not have handles? And all kinds of things like that. Water, does it have to be drinkable water? Can it be poisonous water? I don't know, all kinds of things like that. Can it come from a river? Can it come from an ocean? Can it come from wherever it can come from the toilet, whatever you need to come from. Any kind of liquids, are there other liquids that are allowed to be used from time to time in the case where you don't have water, but you have, I don't know, orange juice, whatever it would be? Are you able to do tonight to dime? For these kind of things, all of those questions, God willing, will be answered in the next class tomorrow evening. B'ezrat Hashem. You know, they say that I was on an airplane, it crashed in the Everglades, and a crocodile, it ate up all the passengers. And the crocodile turns to his friends and says, it's not bad for airplane food.